Hello and thank you for watching my video. This is a little bit different to some of the usual videos I'm going to put out there. This is actually my guild, which is DuDe, and this is us doing several of our weekly guild missions and guild sort of challenges. And I thought it'd be cool to have a video on this because I know a lot of people, in fact myself being one of them, before I actually joined this guild, I never really did this type of event, because it really wasn't, we didn't have the numbers to do it. And so I'm going to take you through, as you can see here, this is a pretty challenging group event that we're doing. What happens, you have a certain amount of influence or merits that allow you to start and to activate several different types of guild challenge or guild mission. And this one here is a group event. It's in the Fields of Ruin, where we're taking on the branded ogre and his branded devourers. Now the key to this is that all three have to be defeated within 20 seconds of each other. So you have to coordinate pretty well. Just to let you know, my guild is on TeamSpeak. Apart from myself, I'm not actually on TeamSpeak, so I can get the recording without any of that involved on this. So that's why I decided to sort of... You'll probably see me not doing as well as I should be, because I can't actually hear any of the TeamSpeak that's going on, and so I'm not getting the full coordination from my guild. But I wanted to show you guys what it actually, some of the stuff that's involved, why it's actually pretty cool to actually go and do some of these events. These weren't in the game at launch, they were actually brought in a little bit later on after the game launched, because there was very little that, obviously without guild halls initially, there was very little for guilds to do as a group, you know. What could you do apart from like hang out together and sort of organise going on group events? But now there's a lot more in the game for guilds, and hopefully with Heart of Thorns there should be even more. And as you can see here, we're coordinating quite well because the branded ogre is actually almost dead, but we aren't killing him. In this sense, it's actually similar to the triple trouble jungle worm, because in that case you actually have to kill them all simultaneously within, again, a 2-minute period, and this is kind of similar to that. So I'm hoping that you guys, that, you know, if you're not part of a big guild, there are reasons why you should be, and, you know, for those of you that are in big guilds that don't do this, you know, perhaps, you know, you should actually get involved in this type of group event, because it is quite rewarding and it is quite fun to be with your guildies doing this. And just again, you can only do this once a week. This is only weekly content, so you can't actually, you know, do this daily. That's why it's a bit more challenging, and it requires a bit more coordination. And you'll see a little bit later on, a little bit, you know, we actually need quite a lot of members. So as you can see here, we've actually started killing them off, and we're finally killing off the devourers, and that's it. So that is the first challenge completed. You'll notice we get a nice reward. We get 2 guild commendations, half a gold, and 2 rares and some dragonite, and a nice little reward for what took less than, you know, sort of 10 minutes to do. Which obviously, you know, you get a lot less rewards from some of the world events out there, and they take you a little bit longer to do. So again, something that's a little bit worthwhile. You'll notice in my guild chat a couple of people got exotics or other different types of rewards, and that's actually quite rewarding. So you can see here we have the bounty hunt, and this bounty we actually take on one of the quagons here. Its reason being, it's actually a very simple path that goes around the world. Again, for those of you new to this type of sort of content, you do need a lot of world explored, because it can vary from one place to another. We've gone from the Fields of Ruin in the south, in the Ascalon region, to Kryta region in Kessex Hills. So if you are a fairly new player to Guild Wars 2, it is advisable to go and get a bit of map completion around, you know, the sort of low level areas to medium level areas, so you get a lot of waypoints. And if you do need to run from one place to another, for example, several of my guildies didn't actually have this point sort of discovered, so they had to travel from Lion's Arch. A couple didn't have the Fields of Ruin, and so had to travel from Divinity's Reach via the Azure Gate. So as you can see, we're taking on, this is the bounty hunt, the Poobadoo, and he's got a very simple sort of path that he goes around. You'll notice a lot of these characters with a little star or sheriff symbol above their head, then throughout the world, and there's different ones for, you know, different maps. And the benefit for this, obviously, you'll see we get a reward from it, but you know, you have to track them down, and that's going to be the hardest point with a limited timer. We only choose to go after one. Again, 2 rares, half a gold, and some guild commendations. But yeah, we choose not to. We only choose to go for one, just because we try and get everything done pretty simple. And some of the harder, you know, next level up bounties, they are more tricky to actually go around on the hunt for. So as you can see, we're actually now at the guild puzzle. This is quite a fun activity. It's a little bit different. You know, you need a little bit more coordination because there are some challenging sections of guild puzzles where you need to be very, very coordinated on TeamSpeak so that you can coordinate and take, you know, proceed past each objective as quickly as possible. So this is a nice one. This is there's a few guild puzzles I actually really enjoy. That again, guild puzzles were added after the launch of Guild Wars 2. It came a little bit after that, and you'll notice because a lot of the waypoints, if you watch my leveling challenge, I forgot about this waypoint. They added in a lot of waypoints specifically for the guild puzzle. And so, for example, there are a few locations in Tyria where there are waypoints pretty close to another one, but that is the reason why they're there, for the guild puzzles. So we're gonna walk through this. You'll see me obviously, you know, going around, wandering around. Because I don't have guild chat, you will notice that a couple of times I get asked to do something, but I can't because I'm not actually listening to guild chat. Sorry, because I'm not really paying attention. I'm just trying to get this recorded for you guys so you can see this. So if, for example, we've come through here, I've turned off the sort of the HUD so you can have a look, see all the characters coming through, which are pretty cool. You know, it's always a nice sight seeing a lot of different characters come into, you know, different armor styles, different dye colors, and it's always pretty cool seeing that. And now this little challenge we have here, the idea is you search for some weapons. We have to try and return the weapons to the statues. And you'll notice here, so some of them have the statue, that their statue has have a weapon equipped, as you can see there, but the corresponding statues on the opposite side of them don't have any weapons equipped. So what you do, where the weapon store, you know, you can see where most of my guild are. What they're doing, they're searching through sort of the, you know, the weapon sets to try and find the corresponding weapon. As you can see here, someone's already equipped a bow. So that one's equipped, and I think someone else just equipped another weapon to another statue. Yep, he equipped the sword there. And what you have to do, you have to go through searching through all of these, trying to match up the weapons with the right soldier, or with the right statue, sorry. And that will unlock the gate to the next section. Because I'm not on TeamSpeak, I don't know exactly what's going on. But again, this is, you know, how this whole works. You don't actually have to need TeamSpeak. It does help a lot. You don't need TeamSpeak at all though. But generally, for quick coordination, you know, it is much more, you know, it is much easier for yourself and for the rest of your guild, and it's quite cool as well. So yeah, that's pretty much this stage of the jumping puzzle discussed. We're going to move on. But, you know, I'm going to try and actually do something myself. I'm going to try and find something, but unfortunately I don't find anything. So there we go. I mean, to be honest, the enemies in this, they're pretty under-leveled. I don't know why, but, yeah, you know, we're having no major difficulties. So there you go. The gate is now open, or the door's now open, and we are going to go into the next stage. But I find these are really well designed, really nicely laid out sections of you know, sort of the map that were obviously they weren't existing in launch, and since they added all of this content, you know, I find graphically they're very, very well designed. You know, I always go back to Guild Wars 1 and, you know, some of the, particularly the Eye of the North expansion and some of the dungeons there. Some of the levels that they had in there were really, really beautifully designed. I'm not saying that there are, you know, that Guild Wars 2, the maps aren't beautifully designed anyway. You know, there are a lot of locations that are visually spectacular, but I think that obviously with the experience of, you know, after launch, they were able to go back and think, yeah, this area can be made really, really cool. So let's talk about this bit. This bit's really interesting, actually. You'll notice that there's sort of these gallery type areas, sort of with curtains. And I'll go up and talk to an NPC, actually, that's wandering around to sort of explain a little bit about them. And I wonder if I can find him. He's around here somewhere. Let's see. Is he? There he is. So what the idea is, one person from from your guild goes and covers a curtain. And so we'll speak to the NPC here. He talks about this being the sort of artworks, and how the idea is in this, one person per curtain, and when the curtain opens, it will reveal a portrait. And what your job is to do is to actually copy what that portrait is doing. Now, when this activates, we're going to show you, or I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about when, I say you're supposed to copy what's on the portrait. Each portrait has a different, it is showing a different emote. I'm just waiting to see if it activates, and I'm trying to get in a good position so you can see. I don't think they're activating it yet, but as you can see, that there's curtains all over the place, up to the left, to the right, in this main area here. And I don't think they're activating it just yet. But again, I'm not on TeamSpeak, so I can't actually see it. As you can see here, we've got most of our guild are actually doing this at the moment. So yeah, you can. I actually started to realise actually they are talking to me. I'm on my character, Nicholas the Eye, the Ranger, so they're all going, why aren't you go this way, go this way? I'm like, I'm not on TeamSpeak. Anyway, so normally I'd be on TeamSpeak and I'd be helping out with the guild, but I just wanted to show you, obviously, I didn't want to record the team chat, the actual TeamSpeak, just because I wanted to have you guys focusing and for me explaining a little bit. And I think if I had the TeamSpeak on, it would really sort of detract from you guys understanding what was going on. It may get a bit confusing, and I think didn't want everyone to get offended if they didn't want their voice recorded. So as you can see here, we're looking at the curtains. So there we go. The curtains have pulled back, and as you can see here, they have an emote. So we've got a couple of guys that are waving. And if we go over to the other side, we got a couple of different other guys doing different emotions. But that's what you have to do, you have to copy it. And I will be honest, it did take us a while to actually get this synchronized and sort of sorted out so that we could actually get onto the next stage. It is a little bit tricky because you have to make sure everyone's covered. I don't know the full explanation if I've missed anything out on this. I do hope that I've covered it correctly. I don't run this very often. Obviously it's once a week. So, and you do get different puzzles, different guild puzzles. There are many throughout Tyria, and so you don't always get this. It could take you another month before you actually redo the same puzzle, and so it is a little bit. Oh, well, what am I doing here? So that's pretty much that. So yeah, you can see my guys, they're eventually going to get it all sorted and all organised. This is one of the bits that's a little bit tricky when you're trying to, if you don't have TeamSpeak, trying to coordinate it. As you can see, you do have a time limit on, how long you can spend doing the guild puzzle. But, at the end of it, we got it ourselves sorted, it took us a couple of tries just because a few people weren't listening properly or I just wasn't paying attention. But, that's what happens, we weren't too stressed. We've done this a couple of times before on this particular puzzle. And as I said, we've got probably around a dozen guys that are all very well experienced doing this and are very well, coordinated and can do this without many of us actually sort of really having to focus, which is really good. Okay, I admit, I'm getting carried a little bit here in this guild puzzle, but again, because I am recording, I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of an overview to show, for example, what it's like being in a guild like DuDe, able to do some of these guild puzzles, guild missions, and generally have a nice bit of coordinated fun and sort of enjoyment. So we proceed. We actually did finally get through that section, and we're moving on. You can see obviously we've got several commanders tagged up. I am myself a commander, but aren't tagged up for this particular guild puzzle. Just because obviously I'm recording, I just want to stay in the background for this. Let the people that obviously know how to lead and know how to do this jumping puzzle carry on. So as we're proceeding through, we get to this next section, which has sort of a poisonous cloud area, and the idea is that you actually have to sort of disable it or sort of enable the sort of wheels to turn around to, you know, improve airflow. Again, I don't know the whole full specifics on this, so I would assume looking at the guild wiki would be a good place to start, because it gives you some very, very good tips on how to actually proceed past this point. I'm just being carried at this point. This is one of the puzzles that I'm not too familiar with. I'm normally just the one following because, like I said, I haven't done this much. So we're moving further down and proceeding quite nicely. So we're almost at the bottom now, and we're getting pretty close to the end of the guild puzzle. Again, I find these actually pretty cool things that ArenaNet brought into Guild Wars 2, because obviously they weren't there at launch. Now, were they, you know, there at the beginning? You know, sort of were they there in development that just weren't finished? You know, who knows? But they were brought in. This part of the puzzle, we actually have to go around scavenging these areas to build the ram. You just need some wood and some metal, and then you can build the ram to get out of here. But I find these actually really, really interesting. They're, you know, quite enjoyable, and you know, as you're going around with your guild, you know, you actually feel a real sense of sort of togetherness as you're going around, and really feeling part of a team doing this. Obviously, this is content that's, you know, open world content. It's out in the world, and obviously it's not, for example, a dungeon instance where you're limited to 5 people. This is actually a sort of, you know, big group event. There is around 20 odd of us doing this, and it's nice. It's a nice accomplishment that you get as a guild. So you notice again, we get this little chest for doing this. 1 guild commendation, 2 rares, and another half a gold. So again, pretty good stuff as a reward. We get the chest, you know, another chest, sort of chest to open. Not too anything great there. And then we carry on, and we actually we swim down just to pick up another chest where there really isn't much in there, and we can then escape out of the puzzle, and we proceed on to the next guild event, which is something very interesting. It's the guild rush.
You can never have too much treasure.
And so we get into the next stage of our guild mission, and this is always the one that's a little bit tricky. It's a bit different again. It's not the sort of typical combat that you have for Guild Wars 2. This is where you actually get transformed, and this is for the guild rush. And the idea is that you have to get 15 of your guild mates, or your guild, through the maze and to the end. Now, what you're going to face, what you have to do is you have to navigate your way through the flag system, like sort of ski slalom, and you do by passing through each gate. You know, you see a little blue flag on your mini map, and that indicates that you've passed it. Once you can see there on my mini map, there's a small blue flag. We've got some obstacles that we have to go through that will injure us. And you can see I've passed through the first gate, and the second gate has appeared on my mini-map. So you can tell if you've actually hit that sort of gate. It's similar to the big jumping puzzle they have in the Silver Wastes, whereby if you actually miss a sort of a flag, you've got to go back and get, hit it again. So we're actually proceeding. We actually transformed into spiders. We have 3 skills. One is this radar detection, looking for traps and such. The second one is where you actually create a decoy. This is because during this, there's lots of dredge around the map, and they are hostile to us, and we are very limited in health. As you can see, we only have 3,000 health, and they will make us, or kill us pretty quickly. The third skill is this strange teleport that you can have as a spider, and you actually have to use this. The first time doing this, I was like, where the hell do I go? I'm at this point here, and I look up, and I'm like, there goes, look up, there's the gates up there. You have to use the teleport, which is skill 3, and that will teleport you up. So you can see there, eventually we get teleported up, and we're through the next gate. And this is the cool little puzzle that we have going here. And I didn't see the rock thing, and what happened, I lost all my health, and so we had to start over again. A little bit disappointing, frustrating this can be, and I just wanted to show you guys, obviously that was a little bit of a failure there, not for the first time. So it is a bit tricky. We've got a lot of new start again. I've got a lot of new guildies that were actually joining us for this, and some of them are in our party, and some of them are really struggling because this is brand new to them. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of players out there that may not be part of a guild that does guild missions like this, and so they would never have seen this type of activity. And I'll admit that I never really noticed or got involved with this before I joined my current guild. And I actually enjoy the fact that I'm part of such a well-organized, well-run guild that really help us, help players, and do these types of activities. Obviously, there are certain players that actually, they don't like having these big guilds. They like a small, close-knit community. Everyone's different, and so guilds act for different ways for different people. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just glad to be sort of in the guild I am. I think I found a good fit for myself. So again, you want to use the radar skill, because you will notice again this AoE effect is pretty dangerous, and this is actually one of the tougher areas to go through for the guild rush, because there are so many dredge out there. I mean, there's one even on Southston Cove. Again, very, very tricky because you've got a lot of carca to deal with. But we're proceeding nicely. We're going through here. And we've got this sort of AoE, you want to be careful as make a run for it, and I've just got past it, and then you're going to see me do something brilliant. Oh, I double dodged off, I dodged off of it, so I've cut it back in. I'm a little bit further forward than the last time. It wasn't the smartest thing to do, doing the double tap, which you can't see yourself doing when you're a spider, because obviously you're doing a dodge roll. So people may have not understood what happened. Now, what some of you may realise is there's many of our guild that aren't actually transformed, and that's because what happens when we've actually completed, or when you've actually done the guild rush, the rest of your guild are still going through it. It's nice to go back and actually help, by taking out the dredge in your normal sort of form, and helping the rest of your guild actually get through this. There's about 25 of us going through, and so it's nice to have a lot of people helping us out and helping us actually everyone get through this. There are a couple of other guild people doing this as well, so obviously they're going to be, you can see one of them's a commander, and so obviously it helps. The more you have, the easier it should be. But I'm hoping that for those of you that are pretty new to this type of thing, that it will encourage you to join a guild that's quite active and enjoys doing some of these types of events and missions, and that it might help you actually do something, or might encourage you to try something that is a nice part of Guild Wars 2. It isn't one, obviously it's a major part on the guild side, but it doesn't really have any sort of effect for the, if you don't do this, it doesn't have a detrimental effect. Obviously, you're not going to get guild commendations. You won't get certain advantages that you get for being in a guild that has a lot of updates and sort of upgrades going on. Things like magic find boosts, or sort of world versus world upgrades. And this is some of the benefits of being in a guild that does sort of has that organisation, and that helps you out, and is for helping out other people. So we're coming up to the end. We've got a nice little jump here. Well, a long jump. There we go. And we're across there. And obviously you can see my guildies jumping up and down. They're trying to signal over. The first time again I did this, I got really lost and confused. So there we go. That is the guild puzzle done. And that has been my guild dudes events done. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little different video looking at some of the different things you can do as a guild, and I hope it encourages you to sort of try some of these with your own guild. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on your next video.